Hi, and welcome to Foundations. In this class today, we are going to just build a basic building block of what is yoga, what's it about, and do some foundational poses to start to build practice with awareness, practice with consciousness, and practice with an idea and context to, what is this all about? So today in class, we're going to be seated on the mat. You can sit on your blanket and have two blocks nearby, and we'll get started together. So one of the things that we'll begin with, and it might seem obvious, right? But it can be really important, is how to sit. And so I was recently in my advanced yoga training, and we spent 3 hours on how to sit. So I'll give you the 30-second version of it. For sitting, for easy seat, Sukhasana, which is when we sit cross-legged, crisscross applesauce, it's really important for the hips to have a little bit of elevation. And so one of the ways that we can do that is with a blanket. You can use your yoga blanket, you can use a towel, doesn't really matter. Some of us need, can handle like a lower support. Some of us do need more lift up, and that has more to do with not just hip flexibility, but also the shape of your femur bones and your hip sockets. So, you know, you can find a seat. If you have your yoga blanket, you can sit on that. If you find during this practice that you need a little bit more elevation, you can always go and get more elevation, right? You want to start from a very supportive place so that your body can relax and open up and become more flexible. But it can't do that when it's tense. So for sitting, I usually like to take my yoga blanket, and this is often the shape that we use when we're on our knees, and fold it in half. So it's got this rectangular shape. And then I sit on that. And some days, I'll be honest, some days I need a lot more elevation than this. And then so from there, we'll start in we tend to have these habitual patterns with how we sit. So what you'll do is just kind of bring in, again, your Indian style, right? Crisscross applesauce, seated shape. And you can bring your heel in to your seat, and then the other heel just crosses in. And they don't need to be, there's different versions of seated, but this is easy seats. This is meant to have a foot underneath each shin so that your shins are supported, your knees are lifted off the ground. And so what we'll do now that we're in our first version of seat is take a moment to close your eyes and just begin to feel into the seat. And this is one of the yoga tools that we use, is this internal awareness. And we'll talk about that more as we go through this series. But you want to start to feel and check in with your body and say, how are my knees? How are my hips? How are my thighs? Do I feel supported in this shape? You can even kind of move a little forward and back. Just kind of notice your pelvis, rocking forward and back. And then from here, if you feel like you need a little bit more elevation, which I'm actually feeling like I do today. And again, I'm going to say, like, there's times when I don't need elevation at all, and there's times where I do. And it seems to be, who knows, moon cycles, year, day, day, year is always different. So, like often when we're first starting yoga, we think we need to be a certain way, or we try to force ourselves to hit a level of advancement that we think we're aspiring to. But in reality, I've been practicing yoga for 15 years. And there are still times where I want an elevated seat. And so I'm going to go grab a second blanket. You can also use a thicker blanket if that works for you. And so I'll take a second blanket and just layer it on top. And arrive back in my seat, walk sits bones back. That's the top of your femur bones. And then just take a moment to sit. And we'll go through all these things. So we're not trying to learn it all in this moment, but just trying to find a comfortable seat. So again, legs can come under the shins, and we're not trying to make it perfect. or just offering a moment to find a seat. And I can tell you that for me, with the second blanket, I'm feeling a lot more elevated. And if I were to close my eyes and go in, as you can now, if you've adjusted at all, and just notice, right? Notice if with additional elevation you feel any different. Notice if your hips or your knees are a little bit more supported. And then once you have this kind of more internal presence, you can begin to bring your hands onto your knees and let's just go inward for a moment. And throughout this practice today, I'm going to offer you lots of little tidbits and ways in which we can kind of build into practice, but it always starts with this foundation. And if we can come into this foundation and feel supported and feel strong, then all the rest, right? All the rest will come in time. And so now becoming aware of the seat and now coming into this feeling of kind of letting things be, right? The beginner mind, right? Beginning less with an idea and more of just an opportunity to see and explore, right? Even if you've been practicing yoga for a while. And often when we get stuck in our practice, it's because we think we need to know. And we can come back into that space of a beginner's mind of um, letting the cup be a little empty, right? So there's space to put new thoughts, new ideas, new experiences in. And that just helps to serve the whole body, right? And the whole being as we begin in practice together. And so now, really building into that sensing muscle, begin to notice your spine, right? That whole long backbone. And if you can, maybe try to lift up through the shoulders, up through the heart, up through the rib cage a little bit. And we'll do a couple of exercises that will help you to get there. On your inhale, let's bring shoulders up to ears. Nice big breath in. And exhale, draw them down your back. Inhale up to the ears. Exhale down your back. Two more. Breathing in. And out. One more inhale. And exhale. And so as your shoulders fall down, right, as gravity draws your shoulders down, if you can, start to bring your shoulder blades closer together, which might mean a widening, right, in the collarbone area, right, a draw down of the shoulders. Right, so if my shoulders are forward here, you can see the hunching, kind of the scrunching in the front of my heart space. What we want to find slowly is kind of this spread of the collarbone, this drop of the shoulders, this ease in the upper body. And then let's just come into some breath awareness. Beginning to breathe in, right, bringing some consciousness to the breath. Exhaling out. And so without trying to make it into something, just breathe. Breathe with attention. Notice the pace of your breath. Notice where the breath is landing in your body, right? Maybe you feel a little lift in your heart space, maybe an expansion of your ribs, maybe an expansion of the belly. And then as you exhale, noticing how the body adapts to the exhale. And then you just continue, right? Continue to breathe. Something you've done every day, almost every moment of your life. The body naturally breathes on its own, right? It doesn't need the conscious mind to think about the breath. It just does, right? It just breathes. But when we bring consciousness to breath, right, we might notice that the breath begins to change. In yoga, the study of breath is called a pranayama. Pranayama. It is the conscious awareness, the moderated breath. And by bringing conscious awareness, as you might begin to notice, right, to the breath, not only does it change the breath, right, the way in which your body breathes, the mechanics of inhale and exhale, it also can really help to clear the mind. And it can help to bring attention inward. Let's just offer two more conscious breaths. And then return to a natural rhythm of breath. And then bring your attention right to your mind and to your heart. In the beginning of practice, right, of each practice, we offer this moment after we have breathed, after we have come into the body a bit, to set an intention. An intention, right, is a way of focusing the mind and the body and the heart on a single feeling or a desire or a mantra, right? Something that feeds you, right? So that throughout practice, you have that feeling, that idea to refer back to. And just as we put favorite quotes and inspirational quotes up on our walls and in frames around our houses and around our workspaces and home spaces, the intention is that inspired quote. It might be an inspired quote of the day. It might be more like a feeling. We'll just offer a some kind of intention for you for practice today. It could be a feeling of ease, maybe clarity, or just beginning, right? This offering of space to begin. And once you have that intention set in your mind and in your thoughts and in your heart, and bring hands to heart center, and we'll offer a letting go breath, a nice big sigh. I'll do it once so that you can hear me, and then we'll do one together. So we'll breathe in through the nose, getting a lot of breath in the body cavity. And then on the exhale, it's a ha sound, a big ha. Oh, and explain more on the benefits and the reasons why we do this during this training or this experience together. But just know that this has not just it's not just a yoga thing, right? It has a lot of science behind why this ha sound, this letting go breath is really good for the body. So let's do this together. Let's offer a big breath in, fill up the belly. If you can, bring the breath into the body. And on your exhale, maybe quietly, maybe nice and loud, we go, ha. And offer a moment for your body to just receive that. Maybe breathing in and out. And now we'll start to move into some movement. So just as the beginning of every class, uh, we usually warm up the body in some way, maybe moving the head, the neck, the shoulders. We'll do some movements of the spine. We're going to start that. And really, it's a way of just preparing the body to open and to be able to be, to come into your conscious awareness so that as we move into some shapes that require more of the body and the muscles, we have that attention and awareness of the mind as to what's happening in the body. So let's start with some sun breaths. You can bring your hands off to the side. Inhale, maybe flip the palms, and then begin on your inhale to reach hands up to the sky. Your hands can be, or your arms can be straight. Your arms can also be bent. So this doesn't need to be a perfect movement. What we're doing here, right, is offering this movement and breath together. Inhaling as your arms rise. Exhale as your arms come back down to the earth. And then you continue. Inhale, arms rise. Exhale, hands to the earth. Let's do 3 more. Inhale up. And exhale down. 2 more. And now we're going to add to this breath of 1 more inhale up. 1 more exhale down. So now we're going to bring the spine into it a little bit more now that we've warmed up the arms and the shoulders. Inhale, reach your hands up to the sky. And this time we'll twist over to the right. Bringing your hand to opposite knee, and then inhale back up to the sky. You're not going to land there yet. Exhale, we'll twist to the other side. Opposite hand to knee, touch down fingertips, and then inhale, rise again. And twist. Inhale, rise. Exhale, twist. And this might seem like a simple movement, right? We're just lifting arms and a light twist to each side, but there's a lot of sophistication happening as we move. And again, we'll talk about it and begin to experience it as we do together during our time in this series. For now, just know that you're just moving your body, breathing as you do. And then on the next time that you land to the right side, let's pause here and let the body land. Opposite hand to opposite knee. So if you're turning to the right with me, left hand is on the flesh just above your right knee. And then right hand is pressing into the earth behind you. Find some lift up in your spine. Again, some openness in the heart space in that collarbone area. On each inhale, you can kind of press into the ground. See if your head can lift up a little higher. On your exhale, you twist, 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 twist a bit more. And now let's just offer 3 breaths here if you can. Make your breath nice and long and slow. And then when you're ready, on your next inhale, let's reach hands back up to the sky. And exhale, twist to the other side. Again, opposite hand to the flesh just above your knee, pressing sits bones into the ground. Reach up through the crown of your head, and then exhale, twist a bit. Breathe. And maybe adding some space in your collarbone, your heart area. And pressing those fingertips into the ground, reaching up through the crown of your head, and exhale, twist a bit more. Again, this might feel like a simple shape. There's a lot of sophistication to where we are right now. There's awareness, right, of your breath. There's the physical shape, what we call the asana, the awareness of breath, right? The pranayama. And there's also the inward awareness. Your next inhale, let's come up through center. Exhale, hands down through heart center. Bring the hands onto the knees. We're going to continue with our 6 movements of the spine on an inhale. Bring your heart forward, reach your chin up to the sky. On your exhale, round your spine, draw belly inward, head drops. Inhale, drawing your heart forward, opening up. Exhale, round and empty. 3 more breaths. Each inhale coming forward, opening up the heart. Each exhale, rounding and emptying. Let's do 2 more breath cycles, inhaling forward. Exhale back. Last one, inhale forward. And exhale back. And your next inhale, come forward, finding your neutral spine. And now we're going to make some circles. Twisting and turning the torso around, keeping your seat still and just moving, right? Circling with the spine. A few movements in one direction and a few movements in the other. And really, there's no right or wrong here. These circles can be small, they can be little, tiny circles, or they can be much bigger. Right? They can be much bolder. They can be really wide. You can really bring your heart down and roll around. Making sure to switch directions. Get some evenness as you move in both directions. And then as you are ready, completing, evening up, last 2 circles. And coming back to center. We've got one more movement of the spine before we start to work on the head and the neck. Let's bring left hand down onto the earth. We're going to stretch right hand up first to the sky, and then turn, turn, turn over, crawling the left fingers away from the body so that you can lift up through the side body and open up through the ribs. Again, we're not doing big movements today, but these are really important movements. 6 movements of the spine. All right, once we have them down, are not only a great way to begin a yoga class, but a great way to begin your day. If you have just a couple of minutes to move your body, by offering the 6 movements of the spine, these twists, these um, breaths and movement and arms and body. There's so much to just open up the body and clear the mind. Breathe. And then press into the ground. See if you can press your sits bones, right? Those top of your femur bones into the ground and see if you can lift up a bit more. And if you'd like, you can add just 1 or 2 arm circles, big sweeping arm circles in each direction. So I'll do 2 big, slow arm circles and then switch direction. Opening up the shoulder. And getting some spaciousness in the shoulder. Perfect. And your next inhale, you can bring both hands up to the sky and then let the right hand down onto the earth. Left arm first reaches up and then you start to reach it over. Again, keeping your seat firmly in the earth and just opening up through the side ribs. And your body is supported. Your hand on the earth, and you can just breathe into the side of your body. Offering the space and the time and the awareness of your ribs, of your body breathing. And then if you'd like, you can add those arm circles. Whoosh. Nice, slow, big circles, smaller, faster circles. Just a couple in each direction. And when you're complete, slowly bringing yourself up to center, stretching both arms up to the sky. And then let's expand the arms as if you're holding a beach ball. Expand the arms and just hold here for a breath. And then bring your hands down onto your knees. Let's inhale, draw the heart forward. Exhale, around the spine and let it out. So the last offering we'll have in this foundation, right, of building the foundation of practice is of the head. I'm going to turn first to the side so that you can see me. Often, this is really common, a lot of us have a head that moves forward and shoulders that round forward, right? If we spend a lot of time on a computer, if we spend a lot of time doing this, if we spend a lot of time reading, right? This is all things where like we tend to have these like habitual posture, right? That can round and kind of cave in the heart, and is takes some attention, right, to really undo. And so what we'll do here is we're going to start to sit up nice and straight. Gonna sit nice and straight. You can bring the flesh of your bum, kind of draw it back, scoop right under there, and just kind of pull it out from under you so that your sits bones, those top of your femur bones, are really planted firmly on your support. And then let's do this little practice where we start to sit up nice and tall. You can bring your shoulders up to your ears, draw them down your back, just kind of try to pull up through the crown of your head and get your perfect posture, right? As if you were, balancing a book on your head, right? And then from here, you might find yourself kind of overstretched. And what we want is to additionally, right, once we get to this point, then start to take the chin. I like to use the chin as my guide, but you can also use the back of your head as the guide if you want. What we're going to do is imagine that the chin and the back of the head are on an escalator, and we're going to ramp up the back of the head, slightly draw the chin down so that the back of the head and the neck are all in line with the spine and the rest of the body. And I'll do that again just so we see. So this is habitual pattern, right? Habitual sitting, which it is. You can see my chin is a little far forward and the back of my head is a little far forward. And then I'm going to lift my shoulders up and back, right? So I'm getting my shoulders back in line and creating some space in the front of the body. And then I'm going to draw the chin and the back of the head up that escalator so that the back of the neck and the shoulders and the whole spine are now in line. And once we have that, there's one more move we're going to build onto it. Let's just check our work in a way. You're going to turn your head from one side and then to the other. One side and then to the other. And we're not forcing anything. You're just kind of trying to see how far can I turn my head comfortably and easily. Sometimes we can turn easily in one direction, but not the other. And do it just enough so that you can get a sense of where you are, right? Maybe find a point on the wall where your gaze is landing when you turn in each direction. And then I want you to pause next time you land to the right and bring your left hand onto your right cheek. I'm going to turn so you can see me now. Left hand to right cheek. And then start to press the cheek into the hand, press the hand into the cheek. And you might feel the opportunity, maybe not, but if you can, just keep lifting up through the crown of the head, right? Keep that elevation in the spine. And this is a very light movement. It's very subtle. You don't expect a lot of, if you're really pressing, right, you're going to get a lot of activation in the muscles that you don't necessarily need, right? You just need a light touch. Hand into cheek, cheek into hand, just 3 more breaths. And then when you're ready, you can release the hand. And then let's do that same action, right? Turning the head one side and then to the other. And you might find that your head and neck has more range of motion. Maybe not. And then turn the cheek to the other side. So now turning the head to the left and bringing right hand onto right cheek. And pressing down, slight press of hand into cheek, cheek into hand. Again, lifting up through the crown. Breathing in. And then allow everything else to relax, right? Allow your shoulders to relax. Again, we're not forcing here. Just a few more breaths. Just inhale and then slowly release. And again, slowly turn head to one side and then to the other. And maybe you notice here a difference in the rotation. Maybe you don't. Just notice. And then when you're ready, come back to center. If you can, maybe just one more time, bringing that chin and the back of your head up the escalator, slightly dropping the chin down to your chest. We're going to stay seated here with the hands on the knees and just offer a moment of breath and awareness, how your body might feel. What shifts or changes may have come in this time together. You can notice any changes in your breath. And then together we'll bring hands maybe to heart center, maybe leaving them on your knees. We're going to just do one more letting go breath. Nice big inhale, sigh it out. Ah. Maybe bringing thumb knuckles up to forehead center, honoring you and all that you brought to this moment and to this practice. Thank you for joining me. Namaste. Namaste. So, in our next practice together, we are going to start to bring some core awareness, right, to what's happening in the belly. We'll do some breath work, so really establishing what is breath work, and feeling and sensing into that. And then we'll start to feel into again core awareness, belly pressing towards spine, and how we use that to protect the low back, and also improve the posture, building off the building blocks that we began today. So can't wait to share that with you, and I'll see you soon.